It's not true, but there is like a little bit of a method to the madness. Part of like what my dissertation has to do with encouraging species-specific behaviors. For rats, hiding, climbing, foraging. So for hiding, we have all the hammocks and cardboard boxes. Climbing, we have these ladders, we have these rope platforms that they can both chill on, but also jump from things to things. For the digging and foraging, we have this box full of dirt, we have these live plants, and we have the fact that I kind of did a scatter feed. Oh, and chewing. Chewing is the other big behavior. That could probably be the entire video.
But it's not. Stick around to see my step-by-step cage setup process, and of course these super cute reactions from my super cute ratties.
Hello friends, it is Mad About Animals Max, the animal welfare, your favorite animal welfare scientist and chronic warrior. I am about to go out of town for 3 whole days, which of course means I am very worried about my rats. There's fully gonna be someone in my house taking care of them, but it's not gonna be me. I just wanna make sure that they're having a really, really great time, even when they're just in their cage. I couldn't do like full fairy wings today, although if you look up, that's where my wings sit. When I'm in my human form, but I still wanted to do something kind of fun and fantasy, so I went with these lovely dragon ear cuffs that I got at the Renaissance Fair, and I do have a super cool Renaissance Fair video that's gonna come out at some point, but what I also have is ADHD. So when the videos come out, it's a fun mystery. It's a mystery for you guys. It's a mystery for me. The order in which I film things and the order in which I finish editing them and get them out into the world, completely unrelated. Let's do this. This is a beautiful Midwest Critter Nation. It's a single. Some people have doubles. I just finished cleaning it. I'm definitely gonna change the ladder setup. I may just leave these ropes because I need to be packing for my trip instead of making this video, but like, I figure it's only gonna add like, what, 20% time to what I need to do anyway. That's probably wrong. I'm going to put in a scatter guard. I wish Critter Nation made these, but they don't. So most rat owners I know in America order these from...
I had to mute the audio because it was just like metal creating incredibly loud noises, but what I'm telling you is that I ordered it from Vast.
I'm sure this is great for audio.
It was not.
This is what it looks like. It's this big metal pan, and it ships from Canada, and the shipping is actually more than the pan itself, but I find this very, very effective. It allows me to put in lots of litter without it being all over my floor. I'm so sorry. I'm sure this audio is terrible.
It was.
Okay, step 2. This isn't for them. This is for me. I just find lining the cage like this is a good way to make there be less cleaning for me to do when I'm changing the litter, just a little less scrubbing of the base pan. Now, this is a very fun part. It's funny because there's certain things that are considered great enrichment for rats, and they are, but you also have to take into account who your individual little personalities are. So one of my most amazing rats I've ever had in my life was Maple, and she was the cuddliest, sweetest girl. She also chewed everything. So while Maple was part of our mischief, I like literally could not safely have any kind of like plastic bin in there because she just would destroy it. So now that beautiful Miss Maple's no longer with us, I do have a forage or dig, whatever you want to call it, box in there for them a lot of the time. But Miss Angel, I did not name her that. I would never name her that. She was adopted with that name. She loves playing in her dirt box, but the way she plays is to just dig down and just throw all of the dirt out of the cage. Just all of it. I kind of have to do a more shallow layer of dirt than I would like to, but it's like the only way to make it even a little bit feasible. What I have here is a plastic bin. I put that right there as in the middle of the cage as possible to like try to make things a little harder for Angel to throw all the dirt out, but it doesn't actually matter. I'm deluding myself here, but like, let me dream, you know? I use Eco Earth substrate. It is a compressed coconut fiber. So this is 3 bricks of it. Each brick is this big, and then you put it in water and it expands into dirt, because you don't want to just go outside and just like grab dirt from wherever, because you don't know what kind of buggies or bacteria or whatever are going to be in that. We're gonna get a little dirty here. Oh, I just realized I could have just poured it in like this and gotten way less dirt on my floor. Okay, so when I'm setting up like an herb box for them, I love to go to Trader Joe's and just get like $2.99 each for like basil, parsley, rosemary, like whatever they have. It's very inexpensive. It's very fun. This is not inexpensive. This was cat grass and it was $9.99 for this one thing, but I was doing everything in one quick run because again, I should be packing right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully separate this. La, 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 la. I will be putting in some Carefresh litter. I'm getting it all over my floor because I'm doing this hastily and for the camera. I'm sure I'll regret this at some point later, but you know what? That's for future Maggie to worry about. I forgot to do one of the most basic things, which is they have litter boxes. We'll do one upper litter box today, switch things up for them a little. That is now locked in. All right. So the base of the cage is done. I bought them these bird perches. They've never had them, so I was like, this will be a fun, new, exciting thing for them while I am away. They are manzanita wood. I looked it up to make sure that that's okay for them because rats are fine with some types of wood, other types of woods not so great. Can I actually do this by myself? No! Yes, can I? Okay. Part of why this is happening like this is just the practical necessity of like, I wouldn't be able to reach the back wall by myself. I rotate their hammocks out. I have a whole little drawer and it says hammocks on it with like a little picture of Ratty. I wish I were half as organized for myself. This is a super cute koala that they just destroyed. Let's have the koala's head hanging more this way. I always love to do, you know, hammocks of different shapes. I'm gonna put this right above their forage box. There's a double-decker hammock that they love. I have this hammock that I haven't given them yet. Came with this one, but it's definitely more giant than I expected. Let's do ladders. I'm trying to see like where there's space for things right now. Okay, let's see. So we'd have to move this lava ledge. I think that's the move. Okay, the ladder's hooked here. And maybe it just goes over the dig box. Let's do a lava ledge right up here. What we're gonna add are some boxes for them to hide in. I have this entire bag of tissue boxes because everyone knows that I have rats and that I use boxes for them to hide in. And so my mom's best friend saves all her tissue boxes and then gives them to me, which I think is so sweet. I'm just gonna rip this plastic part out. Now, thus far, it has been all of my building, but rats are also amazing builders, so I give them a lot of torn up papers. They can construct their own thing, and I have a whole video of amazing Miss Maple building a nest for herself. I am an actress, and people in my family also are, so like we always have a million audition scripts to tear up, and I was just going through my old musical theater rep book and found some songs I don't sing anymore, so I hope the ratties have a great time with them. I hope they learn some new songs. Hi, Rocky. This is my baby Rocky. He's helping too. So one of the things that I'm tearing up for the rats, and I wish I could show you the content, but I obviously can't. My dad auditioned for one of those vertical short form, like werewolf series, the ones that are always called like my alpha something, and he didn't book it, but I wish he had. Oh well, RIP. For food, we are doing oxbow. Most rats, you can just give them, just scatter feed, give them a whole bunch of food, because they'll mostly hide it. Rats tend not to overeat in my experience, but I know some do. We're gonna do a water bottle on each side of the cage here. And like, don't get me wrong, whenever my rats are drinking at the same time, they for sure all go to the same water bottle. But I still like to give them options, and it's a good fail-safe in case one like I don't know, explodes. Is that, no, that's not it. We have to choose. Rats are rodents. Rodentia, if you think of like the Latin odon, same as odontocetes, toothed whale, orthodontists. Rats are characterized by their ability to chew. So you have to give them lots of chews. I like to give them ones that are hanging, because if they're at the bottom of their cage, you know, they kind of get smelly. You know what? I'm also gonna take this little hide that also functions as a chew. Here's another set of chews. Let's do this one a little lower. A lot of these things, like the wooden ladders, are already chewed on. Anything you give them can and will be chewed on in a court of law. The one thing I want to say about this cage setup is, even though it looks like I just shoved everything that I could in there, which is like, it's not true, but there is like a method to the madness. A lot of my studies as like an animal welfare scientist, like literally part of like what my dissertation was about, has to do with enrichment, and specifically like encouraging species specific behaviors. So like for rats, I think 3 major things would be hiding, climbing, and foraging. So I want to make sure that I have items in the cage that are going to enable each of those specific behaviors. So for hiding, we have all the hammocks and all the, you know, cardboard boxes where they can go and burrow and feel safe. For climbing, we have these ladders, we have these ropes running across, we have these platforms that they can both chill on, but also jump from things to things and feel like they're scampering and exploring and adventuring. And then for the digging and foraging, we have this box full of dirt, we have these live plants, and we have the fact that I kind of did a scatter feed rather than like having a bowl of food. Yeah, that could probably be the entire video. So like, that's the thesis. That's a thesis statement, is put a lot of things in there and make sure. Oh, and chewing. Chewing is the other big behavior, obviously, but I had just said that. So like, oh, my brain, I'm so tired, you guys. I can't believe I still have to back. Anyway. Let's see how the little ratties react. I'm gonna bring them over. Rosella's gonna be very unhappy because even though I've had her for over a full year, she's still very shy. She's very sweet. Like, she'll come up and give me kisses, she'll take treats from me, but she does not like being picked up. And she has several thousands of years telling her if anything descends, that's trying to kill her. So like, I respect it, I appreciate it. And that's why whenever possible, I do try to herd her into a box, or she's already sleeping in a box, I just carry that. It's great, but we'll see what happens. This is great. Rosella was indeed in a box, so that's less stressful. So that's Rosella, who just dashed off. Erwin is the big boy. Miss Stella and Miss Angel. I do want to watch them explore. So I'm gonna take the very giant hammock down, and that's fine because they wouldn't use that hammock this second anyway. But I'm gonna turn this camera around and keep packing. But you guys enjoy.
So I just wanted to say a couple things as we look at this footage of my beautiful goblins exploring, which is sped up to various degrees. One of the things I wanted to point out was the way that between the 4 of them, they interact with pretty much every single thing I put in this cage. I also like seeing the way the cage flows, for lack of a better word, in terms of how they can climb or jump from piece to piece, and they do. Also, notice how they'll touch the new manzanita wood perches that I bought them with their little tiny cute little hands, but none of the rats actually put their full weight on them yet, even though we see them do that with pretty much everything else. Even in this one little cross section of their exploration, rats can be a little neophobic, which means they fear new things, which serves them very well as prey animals. So if you put an entirely new stimulus in a cage, don't be surprised if your ratties need a day or two to fully trust and accept it. That's why when I add new toys or features, I make sure that most of the other things in the cage are stuff that they've interacted with before, albeit in some degree of new configurations to keep the cage exciting and challenging. And speaking of cages, I sit at a sort of odd intersection of animal welfare and animal rights and veganism that I will have to make a video about. Some vegans believe that owning pets at all is inherently not vegan since you're exercising dominion over another living being. I don't necessarily see it that way, but I do think we vastly underestimate the needs of our domestic companions, especially some of those kept in cages. Reptiles are chronically underserved, and evolving research suggests that many simply can't cope with being pets, and that does include snakes. Birds also have extremely high needs that often go unmet, and yes, small mammals also are not always given what they need to thrive. There's an insane amount of misinformation on the needs of hamsters, who can actually be really difficult to make happy in captivity. And honestly, even for most of my rat guardianship history, which spans almost 30 years at this point, I wasn't giving them the full array of features I am now. I always had things for them to hide in, things for them to snuggle in, things for them to climb on, but it wasn't to the degree that it is now, and sometimes I definitely feel sad or guilty, but I can only go forward and know that I'm going to always continue learning and giving my current and future rats the best lives that I possibly can. Which brings me to the point I made earlier about keeping animals in cages. I feel kind of like my rats are less kept in a cage and more like they live in a cage. Like they kind of are like renting it, but without having to pay rent, you know? Because I didn't find some clever way to film through the bars of the cage here. I just kept the doors completely open. What I've cut together is part of a good 30 to 40 minutes of footage, during all of which the doors were wide open like this, and the rats were just busy exploring the current setup and chowing down on some yummy wheatgrass. You can see how good the ratties are at climbing, so if they wanted to get down onto the floor and just bounce, they absolutely could. But I do genuinely believe that they love this space and consider it to be their home. When they're having free play on my writing desk, when they decide they're done playing, they just run across the sofa, jump onto their cage, climb down into it, choose a hammock, and just snuggle up. I love my rats. I hope they love their cage. I look for objective signs and signals that they do. And the best thing you can do for your pet of any species is research, and set up spaces and routines for them that support their species-specific needs. Okay, that was the end of the rant, and this is the end of a rat. It's Stella's end. She has a heart on her butt. So after all that work, putting in all those things, I'm trying to find an angle where you can see this betrayal. There you go. There we go. After all that work, Erwin and Stella have spent the entire evening sleeping in their litter box. And Angel and Rosella are in the cardboard box there. So, basic give a child a present and they'll play with the box rules going on right here. Hey bestie. Hey friends. Let's see. Hi, what do you have to say for yourselves? What do you have to say not using the hammocks that I set up so lovingly for you? No, being adorable while being scratched is not an answer. This is a cop-out. I mean, yes, he is the cutest rat in the entire world. He's the cutest boy rat in the entire world. There were 3 rats tied for cutest girl rat in the entire world. Literally, I can't. So, yeah, if you watched all of that, wow, that's wild. Thank you. Please go ahead, subscribe for more shenanigans. Sometimes I do video essays, but for whatever reason, it's the videos where I just talk and pet my rats seem to be the most popular. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out with us. Yes, hi, Miss Stella. You can have pets too.